Today, I just thought to stop by and to talk about something that we do. Maybe you don't give it a thought, but it is something that is kind of concerning if we think through it. It is something that we tell our children and we don't give much thought, but it is something honestly we may never tell our friends, we may not tell our acquaintances, we not tell our relatives or even our co-workers, and yet we don't have much problems actually telling it to our children. We don't even give it much thought to it. So let's get started. Hi and Jumbo and welcome to this channel. My name is Margaret Jeroge, and in this channel we talk about how we can give our children tools so that they can be able to discover and explore their environment while we support them socio-emotionally so that they can be able to thrive and flourish in life. Welcome back. If you're coming back to check us out again, thank you for always coming back. Consider to subscribe if you have not. If you are new, this is home. So I hope you did have a great Christmas experience, and I'm coming right at the heels of those celebrations because many of those things that I want us to talk about today, they happen in such gatherings. So today I want us to talk about when we tell our children, I'll tell your mom. When the child is misbehaving or they're not doing the things that they know they're supposed to do, or we think that they know that they're supposed to do and yet they don't do them, and then of course we tell them, I will tell your dad, or I will tell your teacher, or the teacher tells the child, I will tell your mom. I'm doing, oh no. Let's talk about that part. I know you do not mean it. And I know you and I honestly don't mean to do some of these things that we do, but I want to let you know a little bit of probably what I think it does to the child and how it comes through to that child. First of all, honestly, it does come through as a threat. Now, and the child is able to know what to do or know what to learn when they are ready to learn what they are ready to learn. Now, from that school of thought, it just tells me that the child intuitively knows what it is that they need. They intuitively knows your place and their place. They know you are a mom, your teacher, your grandparent, your babysitter, and therefore they know actually that you're powerful and that your life at that moment when you are with them depends on them, including for the basic needs, including food, including the safety, including those little nuances which we think they are nuances, but to the child is a whole world. So when we tell our children that, what honestly comes through to that child is a threat. It comes as a threat even when you don't mean it, because they are perceiving this adult who is powerful and who is taking care of me because I cannot be able to take care of myself, is now doesn't have enough power, which I perceive they have, and now they have to call for backup. Again, disclaimer here, you are not really calling for backup. To you, you're just looking for a quick compliance because the child is not really listening, or it is something that has worked in the past. You have done this and it has really worked really well. When you just mention mom or dad or teacher, it just works real quick. So it is something that you don't give thought. But to that child, I want you to look back to a scenario when you did it. When you remembered maybe you did it and you just sit there for a moment and you see how that child reacted. Maybe they looked at you straight. They stopped playing if they were playing, or they started screaming if they were screaming, or whatever the misbehavior that they were doing. And they looked at you, and probably one, they pleaded with you not to tell them. The question is, why did they plead with you? Why didn't they want the parent to know? Secondly, two things happened. They either stopped and they came to you, or did something else, which to me is a little scary, maybe went to the corner, or they just sat quietly. My question to you is, what do you think that child was thinking through? The second thing that happened, maybe they continued with the misbehavior because either way mommy is going to be told, so let me just continue. And they become a little don't care, even though that is not what is going through their mind. They are not necessarily not caring, but it's like either way mommy is going to know, daddy is going to know, grandma is going to know, teacher is going to know, let me just continue. But to me, I would rather that child who continues, because they may not be thinking. This child who complies and sit down is my concern, because we do not know why they decided to comply and how it is that they are thinking. Maybe what I have seen them, or when I ask them, they will tell me I was scared. So when we tell them that, they comply, and they may not show on the face that they actually are scared, but I will have to tell you they are terrified. It is so terrifying. It is really terrifying to that child, because these two adults who are powerful are putting that child to a corner to really make them be. And many times you and I know that children don't necessarily walk away from themselves, but at that moment now they are trying to think, which part of me need to shrink, because I have to impress this adult right now who is here with me so that I can survive. So you have set the ball rolling already for anxiety. And again, it may not show on the face. The child may be laughing at that moment. We may claim actually that child forgot when maybe mommy come to pick up, or when they meet mommy or the person who was being called. But at that moment when that happened, what happened in the inside, it may have set the ball rolling for anxiety. The child is feeling not safe. The child is wondering, what do I do? They start giving the stories. They will start probably giving you the stories. They will start telling themselves the story, if they're not verbalizing them to you, on how to mitigate if mom or dad or whoever they were who was being called come. I will have to tell them I was trying this. I will have to tell them this and that. And it is difficult for that child. The second thing, which is really kind of is concerning, is when you think about when that child is thinking mom or dad or grandparent or the teacher or whoever is deemed being called as a backup. And again, disclaimer here, you are not calling for backup. You're just doing a quick thing which probably has worked in the past, because you are looking for that child to stop the misbehaving in the one they were doing, and looking for quick compliance. But I want you to imagine, wherever the child, the environment which they were, and the other person is in another environment, because technically that means they are not there with them. I want you to imagine that distance, that the child here in this very moment, they are feeling not safe already, because obviously they misbehaved. So they are not in good books. And now they have to wait. That waiting period of when I don't know when my dad or my mom or my grandma, whoever is, will come, so that I can face now the consequence. That part is just plain hard to a child who probably is reflective, because children run different ways. There are those children who run through reflecting or revisiting that scenario. I want you to imagine that child thinking, I have to wait for mom here. Right now, the child is already suffering with anxiety, but they are waiting for another session of that to happen, when mom, dad, grandma, again, whoever was being called to come. Where is the child feeling safe? The child is not safe here in this environment, and the child will not be safe there, because again, they don't know what the reaction of the people who are being called will be. So next time, when we are so tempted, because it's again tempting, because it's a quick fix, maybe thinking through what goes through, because this, let's face it, I just said in the intro, this is something that we may not do to our friends. We do not call, you see maybe your best friend do something and you say, I'll tell so and so. I mean, we don't. We don't do that to our coworkers. We don't really say, I will tell your boss or our boss that you said this, or you are doing this. And yet we don't have much problem telling that to our kids. It's just terrifying to me. And yet we tell those children, and we expect them to deal with it and be okay with it because we said it. Next time, when you're really tempted to think through, just maybe consider, you may be building the mind when you're crushing that little spirit, and you may have really rattled their emotional tolerance and how to self-regulate. They may not necessarily know what to do, because whatever they were doing, they were just being them. They were just having a good time. Something maybe to note or to know, or maybe something I have seen is they don't do these things maliciously. They don't do it with the intent of being malicious or intent of being defiant. They are just being them. They are not there. They cannot self-regulate themselves. They don't know the parameters. They don't know the concept of time in terms of that block of time that 1 hour is 60 minutes. They just, what is 1 hour again in the grand scheme of things to, to that child? They may not know. They may not know. Thank you so much for listening, and let us consider. Please drop a comment. Let me know what you think. And see you in the next video.